Hey guys, welcome to episode 8 of Grace-Filled Parents. I'm Josh Thames, that's Reid Helen, and we're thrilled to kind of be back with you guys. It's been a couple weeks, but the last time we talked, we were working through an acronym, like working to find an acronym, Reid, around
We're working so hard.
we were working so hard about like how to help parents kind of filter and think through really hard moments with their kids. Kids are super struggling, having a hard moment, big emotional overwhelm, maybe even like really poor choices being made, disrespectful talk, whatever it is. Because the ideas that we put around graceful parenting have been really good. I think people really agree with them and like them. But like parenting is not done with ideas; it's done in like real moments in real
Right.
life, right?
Yeah.
And so we worked hard at like kind of creating an acronym that we feel like would be like useful and helpful as we kind of like filter and through these moments. So Reid, walk us through the word align.
Align. If you've been with us for any time, you know that we've talked a lot about alignment.
Right.
And so align makes sense to kind of capture what we're talking about. And the other thing that's true in this is we've said from the beginning we're not going to give you advice. We're not here to give you advice, but this is
Right.
a tool to employ when things are really hard. So align is acknowledge, listen, inquire, ground, and navigate. Acknowledge, listen, inquire, ground, and navigate. So, which part of that, why do you like this acronym for us, Josh?
I think in a lot of ways, Reid, it walks us through some of the stuff that we're trying to help parents recognize would be a way to move away from reaction, like
Yeah.
reactivity, right?
Mhm.
A way to move away from reacting through fear or need, like
Yeah.
we've been talking about a lot. So, like for instance, like you take it from the top. If I'm acknowledging what's happening with my kid, and I'm not trying to talk him out of it. I'm not trying to say this is not. I don't want to hear this or whatever. Or like, all right, I hear what's happening. This is what's going on. And then I think here's kind of the key at the beginning. If I also acknowledge what's happening to myself, I don't love how they're speaking to me. I don't love the situation that we're in. I'm worried about what's going on. Like if I'm acknowledging them and me,
Mhm.
then at least have a better shot about like moving us towards something that's useful instead of us just like ratcheting up the intensity around the argument. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I I like the idea that it is um, it doesn't offer snap reactions or snap judgments from me. Um, there's a line under the L that we haven't. I didn't read like the subheadings, but it says listen, and then it says hear their perspective without jumping in, which is hard for me personally because I want to, as a fixer, sometimes I want to step in and overfunction and try to fix what's happening immediately.
Right.
And instead, by listening without jumping in to solve the problem and just listening to what's happening, it offers something that I think I fear in that moment, which is autonomy for my child to make
Right. Right.
right. And I think there's a part of me that is like actually afraid of that autonomy.
Well, because it's terrifying. Because if they're a whole person and they're not acting like me, then I don't know how
Yeah.
to direct them all the time.
Yeah. Why don't you just get on board already? Why don't you just
Right.
cool it over there?
Here's the thing too that I think would be helpful for parents to think through this moment. What we're trying to get them to do
Yeah.
is calm
Yeah.
and focus on the right.
Yeah.
That's important. I want to be clear. Like as parents and as humans, we're allowed to have feelings. Like emotions are going to hit. So it's not like you shouldn't have those. But like we're trying to like figure out how to manage a situation with our kids
Mm.
rather than just like managing our own emotions in that moment. Right.
That's
Like I
right.
think we're trying to do that later. So
Yeah.
the thought would be to acknowledge what's happening with me and them, and then to listen. And here's something that I think would be helpful for a lot of parents. What I struggle with at times. I want I maybe give him a lane to talk in. Like
Mm.
I need the answer to this question, dude. Tell
Yeah.
me, answer this so I
Yeah.
can hear.
Yeah.
And they're over here, over here, over here. Okay, all right, but like,
Mm.
what is here? This is what I need you to talk me through. And so then
Yeah.
helping them, like I want to listen, with like guiding them towards what I'm trying to listen towards. I think that's kind of the next one too, is we think about acknowledge, listen, and then inquire.
Yeah.
Right. So like I'm acknowledging what's going on. I'm willing to listen, but then I need you to like hear what I'm saying and like answer specific questions about what's going on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, I really like those first three that we've come up with: acknowledge, listen, inquire. So I'm willing to acknowledge what's happening. This, by the way, these don't need to be like 35-minute discussions each one, just like
Yep.
really quickly. All right, I hear what's happening. I'm understanding. Like, I
Yep.
need you to calm. I'm willing to listen.
Mhm.
Here's questions I need you to answer. And then I'm interested in what your thoughts are about ground yourself. What do you think there, man?
Yeah, that's the one that I love. And we talked about this last time for those listening. Like I had this image come to mind that I still think I've been thinking about a lot, which is that for a kid, sometimes it feels like they're this helicopter that's floating above like the rainforest and doesn't is like just above the trees, and a helicopter
Right.
can't come down safely if there's not a pad to land on. And so as in this time where they're feeling like they're just looking down all these trees, they need a place to land. And so this grounding that I do for myself first is actually going to be that I don't know, that helicopter pad that they can land on safely. And the other thing that I'm thinking about is that these, I guess they can work as like you have to go through them in order to spell the word, but there's going to be times where I need to ground first
Right.
to be able to then like try to acknowledge. Because if for me personally, like I know I'm gonna, if I don't ground first, I'll probably jump straight to unintentionally judgmental language.
And anger, right? That's
Right.
where
And
I
be
was going.
like dog, like lead with anger instead of acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the wrong A. So if I'm gonna try to get to acknowledgement, I'm gonna need to ground.
Reed, when you think about grounding, take it away because I love that metaphor. I love the idea of like trying to find a place to land.
Mm-hmm.
Take that out of metaphor and make that
Okay.
practical. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? We're saying like we're asking parents, we're helping parents think through this moment
Yeah.
of grounding ourselves. What are we looking at? What do we mean?
Yeah. My brain went to a different metaphor.
Mine does that too.
Yeah. What are we thinking about there? Um, I think I'm intentionally. Last time he called it effective calm.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm not feeling calm internally, I'm going to show my child calm. I'm going to
Yeah.
present calm to them because in the calm we can then go through the other things.
Right. I love that. I think you're exactly right. I think what grounding means is helping my like intentionally choosing to calm myself,
Hmm.
right? Like I have to calm myself, breathe through it, and then choose what I want to do
Yeah.
and not feel like just pulled by my emotions and my
Mhm.
like immediate instincts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I ground, then I'm taking a deep breath, I'm closing my eyes, I'm choosing what I want to say instead of just being like whatever comes out, right?
Yeah.
And what I think is really important here, and I think that can be a part of the A as well, if we think about it this way, as I acknowledge, is I am effectively calm. So not effectively, but affectively. Like my face shows calm.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily feel calm. I have like frustration and anger inside of me, but
Yeah.
because I'm being the authority to my kid,
Mhm.
I'm going to show them calm because it is my belief, and I think I don't know. This is true of me when I was a kid, and I think it's definitely true of my kid right now. If I'm not calm, they have no shot. There's no
Right.
shot that they're going to
Right.
find calm. Does that feel true?
Yeah. A child, and I don't want to overstate it. I'd be shocked to meet a child that could de-escalate themselves
Right.
and de-escalate a parent. The de-escalation has to belong to the adult, I think.
Yeah. Well,
We're starting with yourself, starting with myself. I have to de-escalate me to then be able to de-escalate the situation, because my emotions, my anxiety, my whatever is going to flare up,
mhm.
and so to then bring it back down to ground is to return to safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like if I can be the one that is in charge of me in that moment, I have a really good chance of being in charge of the situation and my kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because like what I think is so interesting about this is that like our kids need us to be in charge,
Yeah.
right? They need us to be the authority, and in a lot of ways, and Reed, I'd love for us to kind of expand on this a little bit. I think a lot of ways, like parents struggle with like what authority really means. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I imagine thinking about like in this moment where I have disrespectful talk towards me, or really bad choices being made,
Right.
or like something is rising towards me, huge emotional reaction, or like just like just really confusing behavior, like whatever we are presented
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Like, how in the world do I get aligned with this crazy kid here in front of me? What do I do? If I can ground, if I can acknowledge, if I can listen, if I can ask good questions, I can ground myself. We've got an opportunity to actually begin navigating towards something that makes
Right.
sense, like a next choice. Like, I think without those things, if I don't have those things, I'm not sure we got a real shot at navigating anywhere other than just like the spiral of anger and frustration.
Yeah. Yeah. And hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The navigate together is, I I think, like what we talked about in the past, where it's like it's not a I'm standing across from you and we're talking to each other. It's that I've come alongside you and now we're walking together.
Right.
And I might offer guidance or suggestions, but I'm gonna walk whatever the next right step is. We're gonna take it together.
Right.
And yeah, I don't want to, I guess, model with you
Yeah.
what that looks like. The other thing that I think about, you said in charge and authoritative.
Hmm.
I struggle with that, not because I think it's wrong, but because my brain goes to what I think would better be described as authoritarian. And so, how is alignment and authoritative parenting different than like an authoritarian parenting situation?
Yeah. I think I struggle with this myself too, because oftentimes when I was growing up, authority meant fear, right? Like, I had to like someone to fear, and it usually meant that someone was going to be angry at me
Yeah,
if I didn't like bend to their will,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's usually, and I think that's authoritarian, where someone will come on top of me and it's like basically I'm bigger and stronger than you, and I am in charge of you, and you will bend to my will, or it will be bad for you. I think that flies in the face of graceful parenting and the way we've set that up, Reed, because I think that comes from a place of fear. I think most of the people that are in authoritarian modes are just afraid that they're not going to be followed, that if they come too weakly, that they won't be able to manage the behavior.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I think also from need, like, I need to be respected, I need to be in charge, I need people to see me as strong for me,
yeah.
and not because the kids need it, or the child, or the team, or whatever I am working with needs it right then.
Mm.
Does that resonate kind of with your experience there?
Yeah, and I hear you saying that authoritarian parenting is egocentric parenting. Where like I need my way,
Right.
because if I don't get my way, then I'll either look weak or I'll look like a failure, or my the perception of me is more important than being there for my child and navigating the difficult moment.
Right.
If I can just get you to sit down and shut up, that's
Right.
fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is how like, the whole idea of like, hey, I just need you to not talk about this anymore. I need you to not talk to me like that anymore. Like, we're not doing that. And like, what we've missed is like they're really struggling with something, and now they don't have me to help them through this anymore.
Right.
With me with this kind of talk or this kind of language and this kind of thing. I want to be clear about this. What I'm not trying to say is, or B, that we as parents shouldn't expect like certain levels of talk from our kids, right? Like, we shouldn't expect respect from them or like whatever. But what I am saying is that when it's not shown, instead of us going to the levels where we're offended and we're hurt, like,
Mhm.
what is needed is our kids need that built inside of them. Oh,
Yeah.
like, you need to learn what it is to respect someone. Like, you need calm right now. You need something. And like, instead of me saying like,
Right.
I'm gonna, bend, you're gonna bend to my will. Like, I'm gonna show you how to do that. I'm gonna help
Yeah.
you build that.
Right.
Um, I think that's what authoritative is at the end of the day. I think in a lot
So
of ways, Reed,
yeah.
I think what we can do is we can begin to build authority as something that is actually healthy, and
Yeah.
it is the idea around I am in charge of this, and the way that you feel about this doesn't have to affect me emotionally,
Mhm.
right? At least not to be presented to you as you're emotional. So when you are struggling and you're having big emotional reactions, like, I'm okay. I'm sturdy. I'm in a good spot. And I'm calm, so I can navigate this with you. And if you're not
Mhm.
calm, like, I'm going to tell you, A, this is what I understand is happening. So I'm going to acknowledge it. I'm going to listen well to you. I'm going to ask questions about what's going on. I'm going to chill out and try to ground myself as I manage through this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the next choice you need to make.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times for kids that are under like that aren't college age or whatever, what they need is someone to tell them what to do next. Now, they don't want that. They want to have their autonomy and other stuff, but they need someone to say like, "Oh, you are not managing this well. I need to manage this for you,"
Right.
without it being something that is like, I'm afraid afraid or need anything from them. I wonder if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just had the image of the father stepping out of the party to his older son,
Right.
and I guess it doesn't say the father goes back into the party,
Hmm.
but like at some point he's like, "Hey, look, I hope you come back in. I hope you choose to join us at the party. I'm going to be in there.
Yes.
I love you, and everything I have is yours. I hope you choose to enter this party to celebrate the fact that your brother is alive and a human being.
Yeah.
If you don't, I'm going to be in there anyway.
Right.
I don't
Right.
need you to do that, but I'm hoping you do."
Hmm.
And he's coming alongside him to offer him. He does, right. He offers him the next step to say, "I know this is hard. I hear you saying that like he's not even your brother anymore, right? Like he's not actually saying this. This is me like putting words into the story a little bit, but in my imagination, right, in that
Yeah.
conversation, the older brother calls this son of yours is home. Like he's like,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
well, he's still your brother.
Whether you like that or not, he's
Yeah, I
still
mean,
with
like,
you.
no, I hear you, but he's still your brother. Like to be like that, um, fully present parent, offering alignment and saying like, man, I hope you choose to come to this party because
Right.
it is good news today that your brother's alive, even if you
Yeah.
can't see it yet.
Yeah. What comes to me is we've leaned really heavily in Luke 15 on the story of the two sons, and I think we should because it's a
Yeah,
story about a father. But what rises to me is the story previously of the shepherd finding the lost sheep,
yeah,
right? And being like, okay, this kiddo is lost here. This kiddo is not where he needs to be. So here's what we're
yeah.
going to do. I'm going to go find you. I'm going to go put you on my shoulders. We're going to go somewhere it's better.
I'm gonna carry you back home. Yeah,
Okay, right back where you need to be, buddy. And like I don't know, like I think this, like we always think of the sheep being like, oh, thank goodness you're here, Dad. But also, I think maybe he's like, oh my gosh, why? Like, I don't want to go where he's going, that kind of thing.
yeah. And then find out
Um,
here.
Right, exactly. Like the idea of being like, okay, the choices you're making are not the right ones, and
Yeah.
I know it's hard. I know you don't like this, on and on and on. But like, it's time that I start making choices for you right now.
Mm,
And so, let me help you make this choice. Let me show you the next decision. Doesn't mean I have to take every bit of autonomy away from them constantly, but in
right.
this moment, like you are overwhelmed by choices, and you're not making good ones. So
Mm,
now I'm going to step in and be the authority and make them for you.
right. Yeah, and I think that for me, and that's where I have not a hard time, but like in my imagination, I struggle. I know I'm going to struggle with this when Henry's a teenager. Is everything's going to feel all or nothing, which we
Right.
talked about with Sandy a little bit. Like sometimes parenting feels like a zero sum game,
Yes.
and that like either I take it all away, or I give it all back, or it's entirely permissive, or it's entirely authoritarian. And we're saying that that's not true, and that alignment is something that exists not even in a middle space, but in a different world entirely. It's not like oh, we're just going to take the moderate way. Like, no. We're saying that neither of those things are true and not helpful.
Yeah.
It is entirely another conversation to say that alignment
Mm.
and authoritative parenting are their own world to live in,
Right.
and that the gravitational pull there is different,
Right.
and that is a worthy endeavor.
I think the way that I connect with that is my son Jonas is like struggles with managing his emotions when he gets frustrated at something.
Hmm.
Right. So when something is not going in the way that he wants it to go, or it's like it's not easy for him to figure out real easily, or whatever, like that's when his
Yeah.
emotions can really get away from him. And one of the things I really really appreciate about Dr. Becky, and one of the things she says is, if you are going to teach toleration and frustration tolerance, you're going to have to tolerate their frustration.
Hmm.
Right? You're going to have to be okay with them not feeling good about something. And
Yeah.
so what I always did is I would go rescue, right? But then I have to kind of let them work through that and be with them
Yeah.
and help them see it. But like we got to let them work through the frustration. And the way that this connects to me, Reid, is like the idea of a teenager not really enjoying what's happening, not really enjoying the parenting, not really appreciating it, not really liking the decisions that are being made for him, and that being okay with me. And I think that's really hard to ask parents to do that. And I think maybe that's what is needed. Like, I just want them to appreciate what I'm doing. Me too. But like, do we mostly just want them to move towards what is the right thing right now? I don't know. It's a really high bar to have them really be excited about the choices.
Yeah.
Like, can we let them not enjoy what's happening and still be in charge of them?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a hard thing. So one of the things like Reed and I are really trying to hold up and like think through real well. First of all, is this idea of alignment and like how do we give this like easy acronym thing to remember, right? Acknowledge, listen, inquire, ground, and navigate. Like how do we hand that to parents in ways that they can help like kind of filter through hard moments? But then also this next discussion around like what does it mean to be authoritative instead of authoritarian? Right? Like, what is it to not have to swing between the two, like this dichotomy of authoritarian or permissive? Like, what was it? What would it mean to be like an authority to your child that doesn't have to be mean or angry or frustrated, but is still in charge? And I think that's a real like that's a hard thing and like a worthy thing for us to explore as we move forward. Reed.
Yeah, agreed. And we're planning on moving into conversations around mental health specifically. So I'm excited about those conversations that are going to be coming up in the next few episodes and kind of talking through what mental health is, what we're talking about. We're talking about mental health, how graceful parenting addresses things like depression and anxiety and all those sorts of things that plague our young folks and adults alike. And how do we navigate those things? How do we stay aligned within that? Is that even possible? And so those are questions that we're moving toward, and I'm excited about those conversations as well. For today, we hope you choose to align, heyo, with your with your child or your children, and that the hard work of grounding is something that you are able to do. Yeah. Thanks for listening to episode 8 of Graceful Parents. I'm Reid Hill, and that's Josh Thames.
Thanks for listening today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and heck, even share with a friend. Let somebody know what you heard on here. We love getting to do this and to share our conversations with you. Listen in next time for our conversation with our good buddy Ryan Roller. We're going to talk about parenting, life, sports, and faith. We'll see you there.